Little salmon for tonight for dinner. With that, lately I've really enjoyed some lighter red wines, lighter, lower tannin red wines. So tonight I chose a Burgundy from Nuits St. George and have some props today. So, the wine map of France, and you got Burgundy all up in this region here, and the northern part of Burgundy, and the whole thing's called Côte d'Or, and then you got the Côte de Nuit, and then the Côte de Beaune. So this wine, so there's the Côte d'Or, all of it up here, and the Côte de Beaune south, Côte de Nuit is north, and Nuits St. George is this area right in here. So, a village in the north of Burgundy. So you actually can see it's actually got a clear divide. Côte de Nuit, Côte de Beaune. Mostly red wine production up here, mostly white. But there are exceptions for sure, and amazing exceptions for sure. I'm pretty sure Nuits St. George is one of these areas, these villages, that doesn't have a Grand Cru vineyard. So Burgundy being a very difficult place to understand because of the property, but the wines are really easy. It's Pinot Noir red, Chardonnay white, and that's like 95 percentile rule, if not higher. There's some other grapes, Aligote and some others, but primarily those are the two, and those are the two stars of the show of that region. Chablis is also considered Burgundy up here, northwest, but it is considered, as you can see on the map here, Chablis up here, northwest, so Burgundy here, but it's still considered Burgundy. So, and then you can see Champagne's all the way up here, so even more north, because that's why they get those razor sharp acidic wines or grapes that make Champagne. And in Chablis, steelier, flintier, lighter Chardonnay. Certainly Chardonnay country up in that part of Burgundy. But the Côte de Nuit, known mostly for red. This is the Nuits St. George 2015, a hotter, bolder vintage out of Burgundy. And like I said, I think they just go really well with salmon. I mean, they go well with a ton of things. Certainly they get called, I think I said in a video recently, this sense of elegance to them. They're more the elegant wines and some of the most expensive wines in the world, because they cannot grow these vineyard areas, these villages. And then in these villages, there's vineyards, Premier Cru vineyards, and then there's the Grand Cru vineyards, even the highest level, the highest appellation in Burgundy. So you don't have to know anything about Nuits St. George or one of the other properties. If you see red or you see white and you see Premier Cru on it, it's probably going to be pretty good. If you see Grand Cru, it's probably going to be exceptional, but also very expensive. Doesn't mean some of the village wines aren't great. They are. This is not Premier Cru or Grand Cru. It's just Nuits St. George. A lot of them have different expressions. Some Pinots are a little lighter or darker than others. Same thing goes for the Chardonnay Merceau, sort of a bigger style Chardonnay. Again, an area with no Grand Cru vineyard, so they go by vineyard, literally, not the village. So really small plots, these small tiny plots that are producing some of the greatest wines in the world and most expensive. So low tannin, typically medium acid, medium plus acid type. Some other toys, or I have these aroma charts, aroma wheels that I also bought for various wine colors depending on which one. So this is the red wine wheel. So sometimes if I just need a, hey, I know I smell something, and 80% of taste supposedly is smell. If I smell or taste something, what is it? Maybe I see it on here. And typically I always get Pinot Noir, I always get this black cherry, and I definitely get the black cherry. And I typically get spice, black cherry and spice. If I smell that on a wine, I'm thinking I'm in Pinot Noir. And then if I get some earthy elements, some mushroom or forest floor type stuff, autumn leaves, I definitely think I'm in Burgundy, not in the United States or New Zealand. See, and because this is a riper vintage, you don't get some of those what they call old world Used to be like a meatiness to it, a bacon fat thing. I don't get those anymore from these Pinot Noirs. Great acidity, really long length, and it is a bit of a bigger Pinot Noir. It's not Cabernet, it's Pinot Noir, but it's a bigger Pinot Noir. Definitely a riper Pinot Noir, higher in the red fruit category for sure here. So red cherry, black cherry, heavy. Some baking spice. Not a ton. This is not overly spicy at all. This actually is very, very nice. And if I look at the chart here, you know, what else would jump out at me? Like pomegranate, right? So it didn't hit me in the face, but I see it on paper. Yes, pomegranate's absolutely there. Then you go to the brown spice area, cloves, cinnamon, Chinese spice. Not really getting a lot of those. If anything, just a hint of baking spices, but very, very slight on this wine. You go to earthy elements. Am I getting red beet, clay pot, dusty? Not really on this one. Not really. There is a minerally character overall in this wine. This is a very generic term, but I think it fits. People typically tend to know what they mean. It's like a rockiness or something, but just this, hard to describe, but this is going to go really well with the salmon. Like I can tell, the acid, the low tannin, you know, medium minus tannin, this length. This is a fantastic, fantastic Pinot Noir from Nuits St. George. I've had a few from Nuits St. George. I've even had a Premier Cru from Nuits St. George. Like I said, I don't think they have any Grand Cru vineyards. And I'm not the greatest when it comes to Burgundies and all the Grand Cru vineyards. And the most expensive wine in the world is from Romanée-Conti, Domaine, DRC, Domaine de Romanée-Conti, Albert Villain. His wines are, first of all, you can't even get them. Second of all, the most expensive wines in the world, and it's the Pinot Noirs that he's most well known for. And obviously Grand Cru vineyards in that area. But this is Nuits St. George, totally different region. Looks like a little bigger than some of the other villages. Not, I mean, it's a very, very small area. So just looking at that overall, it's just very, very small. They make far less wine than like Bordeaux. So, good wine. I am running very low on Pinot Noirs, especially from Burgundy. Actually, Pinot Noirs in general, and I typically like to buy them from Burgundy. I just prefer the restrained, and then that rusticity, and a little bit of that old world. When I get some of the California ones, a little too over the top, too much strawberry and fruity and big, a little bit jammy. Maybe they restrained it, but I didn't, you know, and you're paying a premium for that style. And then, I mean, there's definitely good ones. And then Willamette Valley definitely has some great ones out of Oregon that I really enjoy. You know, I'm wrong. There's plenty of great California producers. I think you just have to pay for it. I just seem to prefer and have better luck at a lower price range in Burgundy. Although it's just an area that you really can't go too low. You can't go too low with the price. Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and Cabernet, two of the most highly sought after grapes in the world, and you have to pay a little bit extra to get something a little bit better. There are those exceptions. There's a Pinot Noir out of Oregon called Four Graces that I really like, and it's in the 20s. I think it's a great wine for the price. Fantastic wine for the price, actually. For, you know, buy something from Louis Jadot or Louis Latour and making it in Burgundy, it's a large producer, but a good producer, Jadot especially, probably pretty good in the lower price bracket. They're taking it seriously, even though they're making a fair amount. So, if there's anything to report tomorrow on how this is with my salmon, I certainly will. For now, this is definitely a 4.5 out of 5. I mean, I really, really enjoy this. Like I said, a little bit of a bigger, fruitier style because of the vintage 2015 being a hot vintage out of Burgundy. So riper grapes, riper style wine. But a delicious wine too. And at the end of the day, we're drinking this stuff because it tastes good and it pairs well with food. So you need to be enjoying it. Typically, the Pinot Noirs are the thought-provoking wines here. I actually would not guess this is Burgundian, I don't think, just for its high level of red fruit and a little lacking in some of the old world type flavors, but enjoying it nonetheless. I think it's going to go great. Hope to be buying some more Pinot Noirs soon. I know it's the middle of the summer, which sounds bizarre, but sometimes you just get fatigued with a little bit too many sparkles, too many white wines, too many rosés, and you just are hankering for a red wine. Lighter red wine, bigger wine, whatever it may be. Hey, I'm inside an air conditioning, so it doesn't feel 95 like it is outside, but pair it with the food. I'm not going to stop eating the types of food I love that pair with the red wines, so even in the middle of the summer. So you just balance it. Switch on and off with certain wines. I have a bunch of sherries I'm going to be trying soon. I think those are going to be fun. I think I got some decent ones. And I got one that I've been dying to try for a very long time, a category of sherry that I could never find, and I found it, and excited to try it. So, that's it. Time for dinner.